Hello, it's Jay here and welcome to another tutorial. In this lesson we're still proceeding ahead with our flashlight creation, but within this lesson we're going to actually create a battery pickup and a script to go along with it so we can actually access this piece of code here that we created for the add battery. So I can just downsize mono develop for now. And I'm just going to come to game object, 3D object and a cube. Now, I really suggest looking around and finding either a good battery model for your project or maybe even make one yourself. But I'm just going to use a cube just for testing purposes. But whatever model you decide to use, you need to make sure it has an appropriate collider attached. It needs to be checked as a trigger, and you just want to make it a little bit bigger than your game object. I'll just set it for 2 for now, just to do this quickly for demonstration. And once we have that in place, we also need to come to our FPS controller, and we need to make sure that it's tagged as player, because the pickup script will access this tab. So again, just make sure that your FPS controller is tagged as player and that your battery game object has a collider, its trigger is ticked, and you've made the collider slightly larger than the model itself. And once we have all those in place, we can go ahead and create a new C# script, and we'll just call this battery pickup, and we'll open it for editing. So the first thing we need to do is to create a public int, and this one is going to be of underscore battery power amount, and I'm going to make this equal to 50. We'll close the line off and we'll put it into comments. So we'll say defines the amount of power the battery has. And it's this value that we're passing into this int here. And then we're just adding it here to our current battery power. But in order to do that, we need to set up a few things within this script first. So the first thing we can do is get rid of the void start and void update. And we're going to use a new function called void on trigger enter. We'll open and close brackets, we'll open and we'll close again. Now the void on trigger enter accesses the collider that we attached to our cube, because we want to detect when the player enters this collider, and that's when this script is going to actually become active. So first things first, we need to come inside the brackets here, and we're going to say collider, and we're going to say bat. So again, we're referencing the collider and we're giving it a naming convention as bat for battery. And once we've done that, we can come inside this function and we can say if open brackets bat.tag, and we say double equals, open the quote marks, player, close quote marks, we'll close brackets, we'll open and we'll close again. And we'll put this into comments. So we'll see if a game object with the tag player enters the collider. As I said, this is the naming convention for our collider. We're checking to see if what enters it, so non-trigger enter, has a tag that equals player, and that's why we need our player game object tagged. And we'll come inside this function and we'll say flashlight temp equals. I'm going to say game object with a capital G dot find game object with tag, the singular for object. We'll open and close brackets and we'll come inside and we're trying to find the tag of player dot get component in children, and the component we want is open brackets and it's going to be flashlight. We'll close, we'll open and close, and we'll close the line off. And I think we'll leave it here for this video and we'll continue on in the next. So I hope to see you then. Bye for now.